Hello everybody, GG Crafter, and welcome back to another video where today I am going to be talking about the second arc, aka the Fairy Dance arc of Sword Art Online Season 1. One of the most hated arcs of Sword Art Online. I know that a lot of people really hate this arc, and a lot of people would like to pretend it doesn't exist, and really don't like it that much, and I'll be giving my thoughts on it since I have watched it and I have my own thoughts. So, basic story summary is also, this is kind of going already into a bit more spoilerish stuff. So if you haven't watched the first arc of Sword Art Online, or haven't watched like my first review for the Aincrad arc, and you want to keep this spoiler free, I must mention that this story summary will contain spoilers from the previous arc. So yeah, if you think that you want to try to watch the show, try doing that first, then come back. I just don't want the story summary to spoil everything for everyone. So the basic story summary is pretty simple. Kirito, the main character, has escaped Sword Art Online and is now living with his sister slash cousin slash nephew. Yeah, I'm not gonna continue that joke, but he's like even though they are like siblings, they're actually cousins. And Asuna, who was with him when the game ended, has still not woken up, and he doesn't know what's going on, if she's alive or if she's somehow dead, and he really wants her to wake up. However, we're also introduced to our new antagonist, who by far, personally, I think is the creepiest person in the entire SAO series. By far the creepiest. And after he's introduced, then Kirito learns that Asuna is inside. Asuna's his girlfriend from SAO, Sword Art Online. And he learns that she's in this fairy world called Alfheim Online, and after that, he decides he's going to go into the game and try to go save her. At least I think it's Alfheim Online. I believe. I only rewatched the arc recently, so it's kind of hard to remember everything. But, so, then Kirito goes in, he's gonna have to go save her, and ends up meeting this person called Lifa, who he hangs out with, and teams up with her to go save Asuna. And that's basically the best story summary I can create without trying to spoil too much. But now I'm gonna get into what I like and dislike about this arc, since I have some mixed thoughts. Some stuff that generally has different things that other people are considering. One thing I actually did like was the way Asuna was done in this arc. Don't hate me, please don't hate me. But in general, the way I saw her in SAO, the first arc, I really thought she was a kind of underused character, and really could, like, anytime she showed up I was just like, oh, well, you know, she's back. Huh. I don't care. But now I've really grown to grow a care for her after learning that she's still stuck, and seeing her trapped where she is in the story, where what she's going through, I generally feel bad for her, and I really wish that she was able to do all kinds of things. And there's even this one moment in the arc where she shows her personality from SAO that I can't say out loud, but so many people say she's not the same bad, you know, from SAO, but the way I see it, she's not really different. A lot of people said that in this arc she became a lot wimpier than she did in SAO. I did not see that. I generally saw someone who was trying to figure out a way to escape, but had to take her time to understand the situation. And when she saw her chance, she tried to take it, only for it to fail on her in the end, but she still had hope. There's still a lot about Asuna from SAO that I saw in this character, and a lot of people saying she was wimpier in this version. I didn't really see that. Maybe it's just because of my outlook on Asuna is different than everyone else, but I don't know. It's really weird. I look at things very differently. Another thing I really liked was the return of the kid of Kirito and Asuna for this series, because in the last season she was killed. I think it's... Oh man, trying to talk about this without too many spoilers is kind of hard, but basically they had a kid named Yui in the last season, which I personally really like Yui as a character. I love her character just because of how innocent she is compared to everyone else. And yes, she's still somehow one of the most like crazy characters with her abilities in computers. And when she returns, I was actually really happy, and I was glad to see that she was okay, and she was hanging out with Kirito for the whole story, and I really, really am glad that she was there. And those are some of the small things I liked without going into too many spoilers. Again, most of the stuff I liked was mostly spoilers alert stuff, so it's kind of hard not to spoil it. But moving on to stuff I disliked, I have to say, I am also still upset that once again, Klein's barely in the series. In my last review, I complained about how the series didn't have enough of Klein, and in this one, he's in here even less. Like, I don't think he makes more than 1 or 2 appearances. Maybe he doesn't even make a single appearance. I don't know. He may make a few, but in general, I'm once again really sad because out of everyone, Klein is by far the best character. Like, even though I find Kirito a better protagonist than people claim, I still prefer Klein's adventures over Kirito's any day. And as said before, if they released an SAO side series just about Klein, I would 100% watch it. And that's one of the major things I disliked. And the only other thing I could think of that I disliked was probably some pacing issues. Like, from time to time, even though they seem like they're in a hurry, they'll just stop midway in order to go take on a fight or something. They won't just keep going. They'll go on some random side quest from time to time that I really think was kind of pointless. But hey, it leveled up their XP so they'd be stronger, so when they reached where their destination was, it would work. So I guess I could respect it that way. Still thought it was a little boring though, since, well, the action scenes were. I 100% love the action scenes. Like, even after the first arc, the action scenes in the show are still incredible, and I really love them. And generally, I think that they definitely have a lot more potential. Because what I mean by that is, well, how should I put this? Compared to the action scenes in their movie Ordinal Scale, these action scenes are just kind of more cheap. But I'll do that when I eventually get to my Ordinal Scale review, since I know a lot of people don't watch my anime reviews, but from what I'm doing, I want to review every single arc in SAO. But the action scenes were really good in this, and I really enjoyed them, and I generally kind of wish that there was more action scenes in TV shows nowadays that were like that. So, for spoiler-free thoughts, trying to give the best I can, I think it's good. I actually really enjoyed this arc. I don't understand why so many people hate it. I had a lot of fun with this arc, and I really, really wish that I could explore more of it. And most of the stuff I want to explain why I liked about it is going to be in the spoiler section of this, which is really harsh because I really want to share all the things I love about this series without spoiling, but it's impossible because, well, it's a story that's already been told several times. By that I mean, like, trying to tell the story without spoiling it is pretty much impossible because, well, it's a really hard arc to watch if you're not truly an SAO fan who will accept anything as long as it's entertaining, which is part of my personality. I really like to just watch stuff that entertains me. It's a weird trait I have, but that's all I can really say for the spoiler-free thoughts. I'm about to move into the spoiler section, so currently I'm going to pop up on screen when we go to the conclusion where I give my final thoughts, and go to that timestamp if you want to skip the spoiler section. But we're about to count down from 5, and once that 5-second countdown is over, then it will be time to enter the spoiler section. Alright, well, is everyone ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, reasons I liked this arc that are more spoilers. Well, one thing I really liked was the aspect of Kirito teaming up with his sister, who is in the body of a completely different person in the game, since she was his sister/cousin was actually Lifa. And I thought that was actually an interesting thing, because it definitely created this whole situation where we knew, as the viewers knew, but Kirito didn't know. And I really loved that aspect, because then let me tell you, when the two learn about that they were a team, that the two were hanging out with each other, when Kirito and his sister learned that who they were hanging out with was each other, and all these emotions going through his sister's head, it was so freaking heartbreaking seeing how it all went down. I was so sad, and I felt like those moments were so strong, and I really feel bad for her. And I know it's wrong to like fall in love with your siblings, since that's really weird, but in general, I still felt so bad for her, because she felt love for her brother, but didn't want to actually do it because she knew that was wrong. And so when she fell in love with Kirito, she thought maybe I could move past my brother, only to find out that Kirito was also her brother. And it just made everything so heartbreaking to me. I just really kind of wish, I don't wish they would get together. Oh heck no, 100% no. But still, it was so sad, and I really feel bad for her. Especially since the one person that actually does like her in the show is like one of the most ignored characters in the entire series. It's definitely a interesting and kind of heartbreaking whole concept, and I really wish that there was more of that. And again, I think the action scenes were phenomenal, especially the action scene where, even though it was more of a side thing that really wasn't as impressive as the rest of the story, when Kirito and Lifa went off to go and try to save a meeting from being attacked, they ended up going on that and fighting, and Kirito's battle with the main general was amazing. I generally wish that when they did more that, they would do it more as a it's an obstacle in their way. I was a little disappointed that wasn't more of like a, oh my gosh, we ran into this meeting, so we should probably help out before we get on our way. That would have worked out better than going like, oh my gosh, they're gonna go attack these people? Well, let's go help them now. Still though, it was fine for what it was, and I really liked the action. And the thing I mentioned about before about Asuna actually still being the way she was in SAO is I'm referring to the one episode where she actually tricked the system, where whenever she tried to watch the bad guy type in the code to open the cage, she could never see it because her eyes were they blurred out the touchpad. So then she was smart enough to use her mirror to see what the code was, and I thought that was really clever. And when she escaped, I was just like, oh my gosh, will Asuna actually escape the situation and maybe fight Kirito? As she fails, I was actually a little disappointed, but I accepted that fact since, well, she needs Kirito to help, save her, because they're freaking boyfriend and girlfriend. You kind of have to expect the other to try to help out the other as much as they can. And I don't care what people say. When Kirito and Asuna find each other and then get sent to another world with the bad guy who starts to rape Asuna, I don't care what people say. That scene terrified me. I was so scared watching that. I was worried, is Kirito actually going to die here? And maybe we're going to get a new protagonist for season 2. And will Asuna be in this position of complete torture? This was so freaking scary. I was so scared throughout that entire thing. And if people claim that's not a well done enough scene, you want to see people get more ferociously raped? That is so stupid and wrong. The scene was already terrifying enough for me, and I was just, everything about it was so just heartbreaking to see Kirito barely being able to stand up. And when he managed to defeat the bad guy in the end was just amazing. And the fact that that wasn't even the end. Once Kirito gets out of the game and frees Asuna, then he just, on his way there, the bad guy attacks him and tries to kill the real life Kirito. I was scared out of my mind. I was freaking scared. And somehow Kirito managed to outsmart him and pin him and get him arrested, which I was so glad for, but besides, I could see that there's a lot more struggle in his real life form just because of the fact that he stumbled a bit. And it's clear that his skills do rely on the VR world rather than any other world because he's not as elegant as he is in SAO. So, honestly, I really don't understand why people hate this arc. I think it's freaking fantastic. I really like this arc. That's all I can really say with spoilerish stuff. But I guess now we're at the conclusion. So, my final thoughts is, I don't understand what people hate about this arc. I don't. I actually really enjoyed this arc, and I really felt a lot of emotions watching this arc. Not many shows could get me to actually feel emotion towards the characters. It takes a lot of time and effort for me to get into characters. If you manage to make me feel that way towards characters at the start, it means you made a good story that I generally find very enjoyable. And it didn't end, even though I did care for some of these characters, I still loved the entire story of the Fairy Dance arc. I don't know why people hate it. I freaking love it. I think this story was one of the best SAO stories out there. I mean, sure, none of them really compare to Alicization, but when it comes down to it, I enjoyed this arc. It still had swords, fun and awesome battles, and a bunch of really cool stuff that I absolutely enjoyed. But I still don't get it. Why the hate? I don't see why people hate it. I had a fun time watching. It's really weird to me and I don't understand. But I guess I'll never know. This is all my opinion. But that's my thoughts. I rate this a 9 out of 10. I think besides a few small detours, I freaking loved this arc. I loved it. And I would love to rewatch it over and over again. That's all I can say for now, though. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Next time, we're entering Season 2, which may take some time, but I promise I'll get to it, and I shall see you all around. Peace.